Brought to you by Penguin.
Imagine If, Creating a Future for Us All by Sir Ken Robinson and Kate Robinson. Read by Kate Robinson.
For Dad, my hero, and for everyone he inspired. Forward. There is a famous quote attributed to the French philosopher and mathematician Blaise Pascal. I would have written a shorter letter, but I did not have the time. It is also attributed, in various forms, to Mark Twain, Winston Churchill, John Locke, Woodrow Wilson, and Benjamin Franklin, among others. I'm sure they all said versions of the same thing, and having now finished this book, I fully understand what they meant. There's nothing quite so time-consuming as trying to be brief. The book you are listening to is purposefully concise, but within its pages is a lifetime of work. Not just any lifetime, but the lifetime of a man who inspired, encouraged, and championed millions. A man who assured people all around the world that it wasn't them or their loved ones who were broken, but the system. A man I was lucky enough to call my father. Dad was incredibly gifted, but he was also a gift himself. He was a rare mix of articulate, sharp, funny, humble, and kind. He was present in every conversation he had, regardless of who it was with, and in a world where people are constantly distracted or looking over their shoulder to see who else might walk in, that stood out. He made everyone he met feel special, because he had a knack for seeing what was special in everyone he met. Being around him, you knew that you were in the company of someone extraordinary. But in truth, it is only now that he is gone that I understand just how rare he was. I will spend the rest of my life coming to terms with the fact that he is gone, but I will also spend it dedicated to the fact that his work lives on. In fact, the world has never needed his message more. At its core, Dad's work was a love letter to human potential. It was, of course, a deep criticism of many of the systems that we have come to take for granted, and it was an uncompromising exposé of their many failings. But ultimately, it was a declaration that we are capable of more, that each and every one of us is a fountain of talent and resources, and if we were to dedicate our efforts to nurturing this potential, rather than systematically suppressing it, the world would be a much better place for us all. Dad dedicated his life to this vision. He started writing the book you are listening to in 2017. But this book began a very long time before that. I'm sure he would make the case that it began before he was even born. He was the first to say that the arguments he made were not new. They have deep roots in the history of teaching and learning since ancient times. They are based on principles that have always inspired humanity, but that we have drastically lost sight of. As such, he stood in a long tradition, and it is my honour to stand alongside him. I was privileged to work with Dad for a number of years, and when we received his prognosis in the summer of 2020, I made him a promise. I would dedicate my life to continuing his work. We spent much of his final days talking about what that would entail and working together on this book. I will hold the memory of those days in my heart forever. It was clear then that embarking on this project would be a combination of finding comfort in his words and message, and agony in not being able to ask him what he meant or throw an idea around together. This has been an experience unlike any other. Nothing could have prepared me for the journey of these past several months, for losing him and for trying to make sense of the world without him in it. But through it all, the doubts, the questions, the inspiration, the grief, there has been one simple guiding light. He believed that I could do it. He believed that we all could. This book began as an abridgment of his wider work. It is now so much more than that. It is the entrustment of a life's mission. It is a rallying cry for the millions of people he inspired, and the millions more he will inspire, to continue to fight for the changes we urgently need. The revolution is well underway. It requires us to see the potential in each of us individually, and all of us collectively, the way Dad did. Imagine if we used our incredible capacities to create a world in which every person had a deep understanding of their own.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?